Hi, my name is Robert Heathwood. I am a member of the mortuary program at NTCC. Today I'm doing a casket display room video for the class that Mr. Davis teaches, Small Business Management 2, 2342. So Mr. Harrell, I know that we've already talked and that you already had a general price list, but I just wanted to point out, and we did this for your convenience as well as ours, that it also has our casket price list for our metal caskets, wooden caskets, and our outer containers. So it's all inclusive. So I'll go ahead and give that to you. That's yours. Now before we go in here, have you ever been in a casket room before?
I haven't.
Okay, it bothers some people, so just in case you might be one of those, we're gonna go in here and there's just gonna be caskets double stacked all the way around the room, and then there'll be a small display of our outer containers. Okay, so if you go ahead and come with me. The main thing that we're going to talk about today are the differences, because just like any other product you're shopping for, car, truck, or whatever, you're going to have a lot of options. So that's the way it is here in this casket display room. So let's just start with the kind of casket that we carry that goes from 18 gauge all the way up to a 20 gauge. These are metal, but they're ferrous metal. So we're talking about the metal that has carbon in it that you can stick a magnet to and it'll hold, but they've been painted. So those are the kind of metals that we carry. As you will see, we only have one wooden casket. And there's a reason for that. We've tried to carry more in the past, but the public around here just chooses to get metal. Now, you are not bound to any of these caskets, because we can also go back and look at, through the catalog, and you can pick one from that. But let's just talk about some of the basic differences here. Some have a swing handle, like this J37 Primrose, and then some have a stationary handle. Some have different styles of trim, but the kind that we have here, if you'll turn around and if you'll look, this bottom row is the lowest we have. This is our lower grade casket. It's not a bad casket at all. It just doesn't have some of the additions that the other caskets do. This is an Apollo, so it goes from $1,500 to $15.
Now, what's the difference in 18 gauge and 20 gauge?
Okay, best way I know to describe that. 18 gauge, like the one right behind you, the Primrose, it would take 18 pieces of this metal to equal 1 inch. So it's just thicker.
Okay, I see.
So the lower the gauge number, the thicker the metal, the less pieces it takes to make an inch. Therefore, it kind of, and that's all reflected in the price, because you're talking about quality. Now these 20 gauge over here, with the same concept, 20 pieces of metal to make 1 inch.
Okay.
So it's just a thinner metal.
I see.
Some of them will, like these Apollos. Let me pull this out. Will not have a gasket, and they have a different kind of latching system. Everything's very simple on the Apollo. But as you work your way up through the Virgos, the Spectres, the Aquariuses, all of these, they start to have differences, and you can see differences between the Apollo trim and these. Where that was as a stationary handle, you start getting up into the swing, like this Ruby. But then you also start to have the gasket. And that does matter for a lot of people. That seals the casket when your loved one is laid to rest. And you can tell that this seal goes all the way up. Let me take the throw it overlay off here. And this seal goes right here along the bridge, and it meets at the bottom with the other seal. So your loved one, in this case it would be your grandmother, would be completely sealed off. And that, like I said, that is a big thing for some people. So you basically have the difference in qualities in the metals. You might just call these amenities. Different options that come with them. But let's talk about the interiors for just a second. Most of what we have is going to have the crepe. So you can come over here, even though these are our top line, you can feel it. This is a crepe style material, kind of more of a standard with what we carry. Then if you'll step over, even though the Aquarius is not the top, it has velvet.
Oh yeah, that's softer.
Yeah, and some people like the soft feel because they kind of correlate soft being more comfortable.
Yes.
Okay, so all of these on the top do have the rubber seal. Now, just for a few minutes, let's talk about the wood. And I know we only have one, we've had more in the past. The big advantage to the wood is some people think that it has just a softer look. So, you can tell by the wood, a little warmer. One lady told us that it was easier to approach her husband in the casket for the very first time with a wood casket versus the metal, because she just said it was more approachable. But as you can see, there's going to be different kinds of woods, just as there are different kinds of metals. You can have your hardwoods and your softwoods. Softwoods, being the coniferous, are like this pine. And you have some experience, I know, in sawmills, so you know what I'm talking about. This is our pine, our Finley pine. But then all the way over here, we have some higher grade, like the cherry, but it's all reflected in the price as well. You'll notice how much ornate this is with the trim, has a gloss finish on it, as compared to like a solid pecan, which does not. It has more of a flat color, even though it has a varnish. You can tell that right there is a little. But let me show you some of the interiors on these as well. Here again, we have a crepe style, but this is velvet. So there are differences in these woods from the finish, whether it's going to be a luster or a gloss finish, to a flat, like the Finley pine. We have the same interior options. Now, quickly, let's talk about life symbols. These can go on various, the only ones that we have right now that these life symbols would fit on would be this one, right here. But some people like to take them off before their loved one is buried and keep them as a keepsake. And some of the wood ones also have it too. I think this one's the one that does. Right here, this would come off, and you could put a life symbol in there as well. Some of them come with, for someone that has been deep in their faith and goes regularly to the church, you see right here on the lug right here, that has the Last Supper. So you can get these to where they are very ornate, very nice. This has a crepe interior. And if you'll notice on some of these tags, it will have a comment that is made. I know this one over here does. About a living memorial program. These caskets are part of a program where if you enter it and we turn in the paperwork, they would plant a tree in the memory of your loved one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I know we've talked about some differences between our metals, differences in the woods, differences in our interiors. Let's look quickly at our outer burial containers. Usually around here, we have a lot of Cherokee contracts. They choose just the concrete box. But just like bronze, the precious metal caskets like the bronze and the copper, you also have the precious metal options within the vaults. So here again, it's all reflected in price, but the bronze and the copper lasting longer than any, even stainless, they last longer. So you have this option here in these. You have a tongue and groove seal that has an epoxy tape that they put in there. That way when the lid is fastened down, it creates a top seal that will completely keep the elements out. So you have some that have the Durapreme, you have some that have the ABS, then you have some that have the lining with the bronze or copper. So that's everything in a nutshell. Is there anything that I need to address, any questions that you might have?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, if not, we'll go in here and we'll take care of a little more business.